So how you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. So what's your name?
My name is Gustavo Guevara, and
Good.
I grew up in La Mirada, California.
Okay, nice. What was it like growing up there?
From very young age, I just grew up had both parents at home, and was involved with schools, and just always had my dad there. Just he was a stay-at-home dad. He'll take care of me and my sister, and my mom was the breadwinner, so she would be at work a lot, and so we would be home with my dad. And I just remember my childhood always it was good from the age from birth to I'll say about third grade. It was what do you think a family would be, and it was until like 2006 that my parents got a divorce. And at the time me and my sister didn't know why. And so we just left the very surface area. We continued, just took it in and went along with whatever our parents were deciding to do. And so from there we would find ourselves just going back and forth from my mom's to my dad's. And just being kids. And it wasn't until when I hit middle school that I got exposed to smoking weed, and started getting introduced to the party lifestyle, the tagging. And and besides that, my grades in school weren't so bad. I still kept in touch with having my mom as a teacher. She'll push me to do good in school as well. And I think that kind of my grades kind of balanced out, and stopped her from looking into my personal life. That she didn't know that I was involved in smoking weed and hanging out with the wrong crowd because of my grades. But so yeah, it became a routine. We get out of school. I'll go with my friends. We'll smoke weed. One of my friends had access. His dad grew, so we had plenty. And it became a habitual thing. We would just meet up after school, smoke. And it went on. It carried on. We went on same group of friends to play football together. And we experienced that coming in freshman year. And then it wasn't until freshman year that we started to experiment with other drugs. It wasn't just smoking weed. Now after football games, we'll go party, and that's when we got exposed to pills and to alcohol, and just everything that was around at the time. And I remember it being just a only on the weekends thing. And then slowly I caught myself just needing it, even to go to school. Even just it started to become a part of me, and I started to depend on alcohol a lot. And I didn't know why. I believed that it was because I liked it, I enjoyed it, but I didn't recognize what all the pain I was carrying, from just brushing off what had happened in my early childhood. And so I remember around junior year, my grades started going lower, and I started drinking every day, heavy alcohol. And it went on to my senior year. It was all blur. Every day I was just drinking at school. And just my parents didn't really know, because they were always busy, trying to provide for the family, trying to take care of business. And that continued on to after graduation. I remember before I graduated, me and a couple of friends, they were gonna throw a luau for all the seniors, and we decided just to get messed up, and we all got caught. And to make a long story short, that cost us our privilege to walk on stage, so we weren't able to experience the whole cap and gown. And it really devastated my mom, and the family, because I was gonna be the first one to graduate, first male in our family. And they were looking forward to it. But after that, slowly, like I would I recognize now that that depression was building up, and it continued to lead me to drink. And it wasn't until March of 2015 that my drinking started to give me problems with the law. And that's when I got my first DUI at 18 years old. And you know, it was just something that was, for me, the first time ever getting in handcuffs. Or you know, it was scary. You know, something that I thought, you know, at the moment, I'll never do this again, I'll never drink again, you know. But inside, you know, it still wasn't enough to make me stop drinking. I still had that emptiness. I still had that void, you know, that pain from my childhood. And I would say about 6 months later, in September, I blacked out. I drank, and at this time I was already working, and I ended up buying a gun, a BB gun. It was very realistic, pellet, and you know, just I was into all the whole guns thing. And one night I just blacked out, and I decided to go do 2 strong arm robberies. And me being blacked out, you know, I didn't know what was happening, and all I recall is me being in front of a register, and somebody just being a hero and hitting me across the face. You know, I was out of it, and then from that point on, you know, I came to, and you know, I just remember running. You know, started hopping backyards. You know, I ended up under a car in an apartment complex with my lip busted, and just I remember thinking to myself, I'm just gonna stay here till the morning, you know. And I was down the street from my house, and everything will be okay. But you know, the hours passed by, and then the helicopters were going around, and next thing you know, you have like 9 deputies and like 3 dogs, all guns drawn, pointed at me. And I remember it was a scary feeling, you know, thinking that I was gonna lose my life that night if I made any sudden movements. But by the grace of God, you know, they got me out, and I just remember just being so fearful, you know, and I just, you know, trying to do anything possible to get home. And I ended up, you know, trying to confess to the crime, and hoping that they would let me go. You know, it would make everything okay. And actually it just made things worse, you know. And I remember just at 18 years old going to the county jail. Now I'm fighting a case. You know, the first couple times I went to court, they were talking about giving me 14 years, and I just remember just thinking like, I really done it this time, you know. And you know, I just didn't know what to expect, and I was just hopeless at that point. And then it wasn't until my parents, you know, they went into debt. You know, they had to borrow some money to get me a lawyer and try to get me a better deal. And they finally gave me 4 years with the strike in California State Prison. And you know, I didn't know what to expect. You know, just never being around any gang lifestyle, just being party. You know, I didn't know what to expect about me going to prison. And you know, I just remember just that fear, you know, just everything you see on TV. And so in December, I got sent to reception, and it was there they put me in a level 3. You know, they put me with you know, people that got sentenced for murders or kidnappings. And I just remember, you know, hearing people's stories about they got 25 to life, they got 14 years, they got 36 years, and I'm there with 4 years. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if they're trying to do a scare tactic but I just remember just, you know, just fearful, you know, just then I got to know my cellmate. You know, he was somebody that was sentenced to 10 years, and he was very calm. It was something that was normal to him, and I remember like about a month in, some drugs came in, and he got a needle and some paper, and I asked him, hey, what is that? You know, it's like, oh, it's a happy card. They put I guess they spray meth onto a card, and they dilute it in water, and they shoot it, and I was like, oh, okay. It was like, what does that make you feel? You know, and I was just really curious. You know, I was like, at this point, I felt like I had like gone to a low point. You know, might as well try something. You know, and I just remember trying that card, and it was like a whole different feeling. You know, it's like, and it got my mind off of my whole situation, and I remember it became a habit. Whenever drugs would come in and they'll get spread out, you know, I started to experiment more. I started to get used to that, you know, looking forward to those days when drugs would come in. And just with my time being there, my points started to drop, and they ended up sending me to a fire camp. And there too, I got a break from all the drugs for a while, and then I got exposed to culinary. You know, they put me in the kitchen, and I just remember some older men just showing me how to cook. You know, this is my first time ever cooking for a large amount of people. And, it was something very positive, very, something that I really fell in love with. You know, just being able to cook for everybody, and, being able to gain that skill, you know, with high hopes of being able to share that with my family, you know, one day open up a restaurant. And, you know, it brought some light into a very dark season of my life. And I just remember still, though, even with the support of my family, you know, they'll come visit me, but at the end of the day, when they left, I would still have that emptiness. You know, I didn't have any purpose to live. You know, and I remember in 2017, I was searching for answers. You know, searching for a religion, searching for something that will fulfill my life. And I remember I came across a brother in there, and he was Muslim. He was he rolled with the African Americans. You know, I myself was with the Hispanics. So one day I was just getting into conversation with him, and he started talking to me about Islam. And it was something that I could see that he was very devoted to. Very, you know, it looked like he had purpose in his life. And I just remember asking him more about it, and one day I took the Shahada, what they call it. You know, you give yourself to Islam, and I remember I felt good to be a part of something. You know, be embraced into something, and I remember him just showing me, you know, the Quran, and I ended up doing the 40-day fast with them, and it was just a whole another experience that I never had before. You know, growing up Catholic but not really going to church. So I found a little place for a while, and then I started to find out more about it, and I just started to get discouraged with certain things, and you know, just the whole about the beliefs in marriage, and you know, in the afterlife, and it just started not making sense, you know, and I started to back away from it, and slowly but surely, and I just stopped hanging out with them, and you know, I just separated from everything, from, you know, just religion in general. You know, I just decided I'm gonna pray to God, you know, on my own, and I continued. I still had a year left in prison, and I just remember after that, you know, drugs started to come in more into the camp, so I started to experiment more with methamphetamine, in there. And I remember just just cooking and getting high, and smoking cigarettes. And that was my life in there. Whenever drugs came in, I always did my best to get some, and take away that pain. And before I got out, I decided to get clean for a little bit. I didn't want to take a habit out there to my family. So finally, in April 2018, I paroled. It was one of the most exciting days. After 2 years and 7 months of being locked up. And my cousin, my sister came to pick me up. It was something that just was breathtaking. And getting out, I was just excited to take on this new opportunity. I'm finally out. Just looking forward to what I could do ahead. Get back to my family. Get a job. And so yeah, I remember the first month, everything was going good. I was doing my parole classes, and my family was excited. Waiting to see what the next chapter of my life was going to look like. And I enrolled into school. I was going to school for HVAC, and just everything was looking so good. And but there was just still something within me, like, that was crying out for help, for hope. And just all this opportunity wasn't enough to keep me on the right path. And I just remember, after a month being out, I have all this going on already. I just picked up the bottle again, started drinking. And just my mom, hoping that at this time she knew the Lord, but she wasn't involved in the church. She wasn't, she didn't come into the church, but she knew of God, and she prayed. And so she was just hoping that at this point I got my, I could control myself while I drink. So I remember they didn't think nothing of it at first. I was still working. I was still going to school, drinking here and there, and I try to live a normal life, with alcohol in my life. But at the same time, I knew that it was starting to take over my life again, and it became something that I needed every day again. And the cycle just began again, and slowly I stopped going to school. I ended up finding somebody that had access to meth. And from there, just everything just went down so fast. 9 months into school, just started going down the drain within a month. And I just remember just thinking, like, wow, like, I've really, like, after what I went through, just let it all go. And I just remember just feeling ashamed, and my family was already discouraged. They didn't know what to expect if one of my drinking nights would turn into another 4 years of my life going to prison, or me hurting somebody or hurting myself. So this went on for about a year. And I just remember my parents encouraged me, you need to get help before you end up in prison again, before you end up making another mistake. And I finally, gave in, and I through my mom's insurance, I found a rehab. So it was I believe in July of 2020. I went into a rehab, and there, I got to meet other people that were struggling with drugs and alcohol, and it brought some light again into my life, some hope to see people that had time of sobriety, away from alcohol and drugs. And it gave me hope again. And I had a sponsor, that was leading me through the 12 steps. And again, I was feeling motivated, thinking, wow, this is it. My life is gonna change finally, and my family was hopeful again, and and this was in a period of 6 months. So when the 6 months came, I was like, I'm ready. I'm ready to go and try to get it all together again. Try to finally, get a career. Get the whole American dream. What my family came here for. To establish. That the lifestyle here. Of family and having a set life. And I just remember this. It only lasted about 2 weeks, and I was back in rehab. So it was just time that I was accumulating of sobriety. But it was once I was left by myself, I still had that pain. I still had that emptiness in me, and at this point I just gave up. My family at this point, they were just enabling me. Just doing anything they could to keep me away from going back to prison. They didn't know how to deal with it, so they would have me there at home. It was better for me to be at home and drink, and and then it continued for about a month and a half. And I just remember me just not even coming home no more. I was just out there, getting high with people and staying at their house, and just going house to house. And it just consumed me, and that just became who I was. All I was doing was getting high. All I was doing was drinking, and it carried on for a good 3 months. My family didn't really know what my life was about or what I was doing. Just covered in lies. And I just remember looking at myself one day in the mirror, and I just saw how much weight I lost, and how empty my eyes looked. No life in it. And I just started crying. Just I didn't recognize myself. And I remember at this time my dad was telling me about a family friend. Telling me he that used to be a heavy alcoholic. I remember seeing him growing up. He was always wasted, and my dad was telling me that he had found a place, a church that helped him, get his life together, and he was finally, he finally had his own business, and he was sober, he was doing good. And so I remember my dad encouraged me to, hey, talk to him, see if he could get you in where he went. And I brushed it off for a while, and it wasn't until my family didn't want nothing to do with me because of how selfish I was. Just started stealing from them, and it just started to get bad. And finally, until they closed the doors, that's when I reached out to him. And I asked him about it, and he's like, oh yeah, I went, I was like, I asked him, I heard you went to a church and now you're sober, where what'd you do, and I went to Victory Outreach, I could ask my pastor if I could get you in. And so at that point I was still maybe I could survive in the streets, or do I take my chance here? And so it was on February 17th on my birthday of 2021 that my dad drove me over there. And it was something that was very painful, just on my birthday, just sitting down, talking to my parents, about to go into this place I never knew about, in depth. My cousin was part of the ministry already, but I didn't know nothing of it. I just saw it as a rehab. And I remember just going into the home, and brothers were greeting me, and they prayed over me. I just was like something so different, and just the love that you feel when you come into the home, just them calling you brother. I was like, oh, like, I'm not like, that's something that you don't hear. It was something that was new, and so I just remember I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how to pray, and I remember the brothers telling me, just talk to God, just talk to Him. Tell Him what you're feeling. Tell Him that you don't know how to pray. Tell Him to teach you. Tell Him to show you who He is, And I remember for 3 months just asking the same thing every day, and He started to reveal Himself in the Word, and He ended up, I started to learn how to pray the Word back, and it was something that started to penetrate in my heart, and I started to see, all the pain that I was carrying, because of the divorce and things in my childhood, just, something way different, it started to bring understanding into my life, it started to give me, a new direction, and, I just started to learn about who Christ was, that He was, the Son of God that came, and He came to with the purpose, to bring reconciliation to us and God, and just I've always grown up hearing it, but when you read Scripture, it's like you get a whole different understanding, and a whole different view, and I just thank God that I had the privilege, to get to know Him, through the ministry of Victory Outreach, and just to see that through the lives of others and the support of others, that they led me to Jesus, and I finally realized what I was missing in my life, and it was my connection with God, relationship with God, and ever since that encounter, in the home, my life's never been the same, just knowing that there's a God that loves us, that really cares for us, that's intimate, that you could build a relationship with. He's not just, a statue, He's not just, a building, but He's personal, and it starts in prayer and in His Word, and I'm glad for the men that discipled me and showed me, how to build that relationship, how to seek God, and now I've been in the ministry now for going on about 2 years, and I just right now I'm just motivated, to receive more of what God has for me, in the ministry. He's given me that hope through, seeing it through other brothers, that it's worth going through to the next step in the ministry, so, God willing, going to the UTC, and, I'm going to go get exposed more to the vision, and see what not only I could, gain, not what from my life, but God's putting in my heart, to be an example to the men that are to come, like the men that are coming in, like how I came in, and God is giving me vision, to be a servant, to the men that come in, whether it's with, just with the Word, teaching them the way I was taught how to pray, how to just being for them, loving them, and I don't see my life being anything else, but it has to be everything for God, the career is not gonna do it, and nothing else is gonna fulfill my life the way, God has fulfilled my life here and through this ministry, if it wasn't for Victory Outreach, my family wouldn't be here, and I'm grateful too that through this, what I've went through, my mom has now been serving the Lord for 3 years, and she's involved in ministry, she's teaching Sunday school, and and my dad's coming around, and I'm believing, God is gonna bring my family into the ministry, even just to a relationship with Him. That's all I pray for. That my family will be able to encounter the peace, that God has given me, that has shown me through this ministry, through brothers, through directors. I want to thank God for Pastor Ben, Sister Laura, Brother Javier, and Sister Brenda, Brother Raul, Sister Gabby, Pastor Manuel, Sister Lisa, and Brother Mario, Sister Brenda, and all the brothers, that God has put in my path, that through words, through the way they live, have set, an example for my life, and they've been, the reflection of God's love in my life, and I just thank God for this ministry. It's more than just a church, it's a family, and I finally found somewhere where I belong, and I just thank God. Most importantly, thank you, Jesus, for my salvation, and thank you for the victory homes, and I'm just very excited to see what God has for me. Amen.
Do you have any final advice you'd like to share with anybody who might have gone through the same experiences you had?
I would say just you gotta reach out, I would say just don't worry about anything else but building your relationship with God, just really seeking Him, and just not worrying about, what the world has to offer, not trying to figure out your role in society, but trying to figure out who you are in Christ, That's something that, that is very important, that's the only thing that's going to fulfill our lives is God. And, I just praying, for the other Gustavos that are out there, the other men, that are struggling, that are hopeless, that are suicidal, that, just call on the name of the Lord, Jesus Christ, right there where you're at. He's, and you'll see the power of God moving your life. That's the only way. It starts there, and then I pray that God will lead you to a home, into this ministry, a great ministry with a great anointing, that, I've seen helps individuals like myself and their families. It's not just for us, but, having your family brought in it's like nothing you could ever ask for, So it starts with just calling on the name of the Lord, and you'll see how He moves in your life.
Do you have any future goals or plans for your life?
So, here in the home, been serving, in the kitchen, and having the privilege, to learn media and worship on the piano. I really do see myself, getting more developed in those areas, in the media, in the worship, so I could help the church and help other men, be inspired to pursue whatever, it's in their heart, God puts in their hearts. And I'm just looking forward to build, with the ministry, and God's put in my heart, with the cooking, to one day open up a food truck, and be able to go and do my business, or but also to go out there and use that as a tool to evangelize, to reach out to families that are going without, or people on the street, provide a meal, just to use that as a tool to reach others, and just that's my goal, just to use what God has given me, the passion that He's given me, to go out there and show people that there is a God that loves them and cares for them, and that He could change lives, He could do miracles, and that's the goal, just continue with the ministry, continue, expanding, for God, and giving Him all the glory, and bring in more men, to catch that vision, to use the skills that God has given you to bring in more people, bring that Christianity is not what the world views it, but it's love, it's about putting others before you, and I just pray that God will use my life to be a light to the next person.
Any last shout outs you want to give?
I just want to give a shout out to my mom, my dad. They've been through a bumpy road, but I thank God they never gave up. I really do see now that the reason they stuck around was because that's the love of God that they have in their hearts. And I thank God for that, that God has always extended His love through all the people He has placed in my life. I want to thank all the directors, all the brothers, that have poured into my life, that have those moments to share and to encourage me to stick it out. And, I just want to give a shout out to just everyone, that has taken, that the time to show me that love, the love of Christ, and, being patient with me.
Amen. Thank you, Tavo.
Thank you.